Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into gold IRAs.
We're looking at this article that you sent over. It's called Gold IRA as Inflation Hedge. Is it a smart idea? 2024.
And it's from Gold IRA Blueprint.
Right.
Um, and it's a pretty timely topic,
Yeah.
with how the economy has been lately.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking for ways to protect their assets.
Absolutely.
Like that feeling that everything is uncertain and your money is losing value more quickly than you can even make it.
Right.
That's where this whole idea of a gold IRA being a hedge against inflation comes in.
Exactly.
So the article starts out and says that this could be like a really important tool to protect your money from inflation.
And they actually talk about how gold has been performing not just historically, but in today's market,
Right.
which I think is really interesting because I've always kind of thought of gold as old-fashioned.
But maybe it's not.
Sure.
If it's keeping up with this crazy economy that we've got going on.
It's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah.
So a gold IRA is basically a way to hold physical gold in your retirement account.
Okay.
So unlike a traditional IRA that has stocks and bonds and things, this is adding something tangible, something with intrinsic value.
Hold on. Intrinsic value. For those of us who don't speak finance, what does that actually mean?
Right. It's easy to get caught up in the jargon.
Yeah.
Intrinsic value basically means that it has worth in and of itself.
Okay.
It's a physical commodity, so, it's used in electronics, jewelry, dentistry.
Mm.
Unlike a stock, which is just a piece of paper representing ownership, gold has this inherent value that kind of goes beyond what's happening in the market.
So even if the stock market crashes, gold is gold.
Exactly.
It's not going to disappear overnight.
Right. It's like a ballast.
Okay.
It kind of keeps things steady when maybe stocks and bonds aren't doing so great,
Okay.
especially during times of high inflation.
So the article also talks about how there are different ways to actually invest in gold within an IRA.
They talk about physical gold and then gold ETFs and gold mutual funds.
Can you break those down for us?
Sure. So physical gold is exactly what it sounds like. You own actual gold coins or bars.
Okay.
You can hold it. You can add it to your pirate treasure if you want to.
Okay.
So it's the most direct way to own it.
That does sound kind of fun, I have to admit. But are there downsides to having physical gold?
Well, as the article mentions, storage can be a bit of an issue. You don't want to store it under your mattress.
No.
And then if you need to sell it quickly, it's not as easy as just, pressing a button on your computer.
Right.
You have to find a buyer, you have to get it appraised, and it just takes time.
So it's not as liquid.
Exactly.
Okay, what about these gold ETFs and mutual funds? They sound a little less exciting.
Yeah, a little bit more modern.
Okay.
Think of it this way. It's kind of like buying shares of gold without actually owning the physical gold.
They track gold prices, and it's much more convenient and flexible than physical gold.
If you want to buy or sell, a couple clicks and you're done.
So you're kind of trading the security and like the actual, tangibility of it for the ease of the stock market.
Exactly, and that appeals to a lot of investors,
Yeah.
especially those who maybe are comfortable with a little volatility and want that liquidity.
So we've got all these different ways to invest in gold.
But let's step back for a second.
How did gold even get this reputation as being inflation-proof?
Right, it's not a recent thing.
Yeah.
Gold has always been kind of that safe haven that investors go to when economies start getting shaky.
I mean, remember, for a long time, gold was money.
Right.
So when paper money starts losing value, people kind of instinctively go back to this thing that's tangible that lasts.
That makes sense. It's like comfort food.
Exactly.
When you just want to go back to something familiar.
Right.
What about today, though? Like, we're not living in ancient Rome.
That's true.
How is gold doing now?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
Just because something's done well in the past doesn't guarantee future returns.
Right.
Even in today's market, gold is holding steady.
The article even compares it to Bitcoin as an inflation hedge.
Oh, that's interesting. You've got this ancient thing and this super new thing.
Yeah, it's like the tortoise and the hare of investments.
Right.
And it shows how people are trying to figure out how to protect their money in such different ways.
Okay.
You see, gold, it represents stability. It's a store of value. It's been around forever.
Bitcoin, it's all about being separate from governments and central banks and the possibility of huge growth.
So which is the better inflation hedge?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And there's no easy answer.
Okay.
Both of them have their good points and bad points.
Okay.
Gold has always been the thing to go to when inflation is really high.
Like what we're seeing now.
Exactly. With supply chain issues, global instability, governments spending a lot.
Okay. When does Bitcoin do well?
Bitcoin, it's attractive because it's decentralized. It exists outside of governments and central banks.
So for people who are worried about the government controlling their money, that's appealing.
So if you're worried about the government Bitcoin, if you're worried about the economy in general, maybe gold.
Yeah, it all depends what your concerns are and what you want in the long term.
Okay, so say someone's leaning towards gold.
What should they be paying attention to, like what affects gold prices, particularly during inflation?
That's something a lot of people want to know.
Yeah,
It can feel like you're trying to guess what the weather will be.
sure.
But there are a few things to watch out for.
The article mentions some of them.
Okay, good.
First, you've got supply and demand.
Okay.
When more people want gold and there isn't enough to go around, the price goes up. That's happening a lot right now with people turning to gold as a safe place to put their money.
Right.
Okay. Another thing is market sentiment, how people are feeling about the economy.
Okay.
When investors are nervous, like during those times of global tension, or when the economy is uncertain, they tend to go for gold.
That pushes the price up too.
So it's psychology and economics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the big players, the central banks.
When they change interest rates or adjust their monetary policies, it impacts the gold market.
So it's like supply and demand, global events, how investors are feeling, and what central banks are doing.
All of that affects the price of gold.
It's definitely complicated.
And the article talks about something else that I think is really important, and that's choosing the right company if you're going to do a gold IRA. And they even have that FTC disclosure at the end reminding everyone to do their research.
It's not something to jump into without really thinking about it.
Yeah, it's your retirement savings.
Exactly.
It's like choosing a surgeon. You want to make sure it's somebody good.
That's a good analogy.
What are the most important things to look for?
First of all, their track record.
Okay.
How long have they been around? What do people say about them? Are there complaints online? Any red flags?
And speaking of online customer reviews, those can be really helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Reading about other people's experiences, whether they're good or bad, will tell you a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions.
Right.
What are the fees? Are they upfront about their costs? Anything hidden?
You got to be careful.
Yeah, this is about your money, so you have to be thorough.
Absolutely. And the article talks about talking to a financial advisor.
So important.
Right.
A financial advisor can look at your situation, your risk tolerance, your goals, and help you figure out if this is even right for you.
Right. It's about personalized advice,
Exactly.
not just what you read online.
Right.
Well, we've just scratched the surface of gold IRAs today.
But I hope everyone listening has a better sense of what they are, how they work.
And if they might be a good fit for them.
I think that's key.
So to sum it all up, a gold IRA could be a good way to protect your money from inflation.
We've seen how gold has performed in the past and how it's doing now,
Right.
but it's not right for everyone.
No.
Think about if you want physical gold or those gold ETFs and mutual funds.
It's a personal decision.
Keep an eye on everything that affects the market and do your research. Find a company you trust, talk to a financial advisor, make sure you're comfortable with everything.
Couldn't said it better myself.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.